Practical optimism, and what does it mean when you're done with cruising? Let's talk about it today on the Boat Galley Podcast. Hi, I'm Nika Waters, and welcome aboard. I'm happy to share this conversation with you. I really enjoyed thinking about it when we had old cruising friends come visit us not too long ago. Today's episode of the Boat Galley Podcast is sponsored by Teak Guard from allguardproducts.com. Looking to refinish your boat's teak with a minimum of fuss and mess? Look no further. Our non-toxic, water-based formulas for cleaning and finish will turn your teak from dingy to sparkling in no time. Use coupon code BG20 for 15% off your order of $50 or more. Allguardproducts.com. Admire your teak, not maintain it. One of the things that I love about the cruising lifestyle is actually how easy it is to wind up running into the same people over and over and over again. We've had this experience when there were years between visits. We've had this experience when we have had months or weeks or days between experiences. We've got friends who we still have that we met for the very first time in the 1990s when we went cruising. Some particularly good friends of ours are Pat and Carl on a boat called Ishmael, or I should say formerly on a boat called Ishmael. They sold Ishmael just about a year ago. Ishmael was a trimaran, a wooden trimaran that they'd had forever, and we met them back in the 90s. I think we met them actually in Georgetown, where they were cruising with their two teenage daughters. And Pat and Carl have come to see us. They're Canadian. They have driven up and down the East Coast a couple times, and they've come to see us a few times along the way. The most recent time was just a couple of months ago, and we got to talking. One of the things we've enjoyed about Carl and Pat over the years is their deep ability to look at life and take it and just embrace it. They were sailing on a reasonable sized boat, but a trimaran doesn't have a ton of living space down below. When we met them, they were cruising with their two teenage daughters. They didn't have refrigeration. They were the most, and still are the most, games playing individuals and grab life and just embrace it. I've never met people with that kind of just joy and excitement about how to embrace the changes that life throw at you. And I think about their life philosophy, and I think it works when you're talking about cruising. It also works about when you're talking about coming back from cruising, because everybody comes back from cruising at some point. Everybody's done cruising at some point. Their philosophy, that I call it, they don't call it that. I don't think they call their life philosophy anything except just the way that they go through life. But I call it practical optimism. So the way that this comes out is, for example, I think it was about 3 years ago, they had put their boat on the hard for a year or so to head back to Canada to, I think Carl had gotten a contract job to put some money back in the cruising kitty. And while they were back in Canada, Carl's mom got kind of sick, and they realized that they needed to be able to spend some time with her. So rather than wringing their hands and saying, oh, it's terrible and awful and I have to put my cruising plans on hold, they looked at it. They wound up buying a house with their daughter and son-in-law and grandkids, and they moved Carl's mom out to a place that was near their daughter. And they embraced the time that they had with Carl's mom, being close to their daughter and son-in-law and the grandkids, and never spent any time regretting where they weren't. Instead, they looked at what they had and just loved it. Practical optimism comes into play when you are talking about going cruising on a boat that might not be ideal. And let's face it, there are no ideal boats out there. Every boat is a compromise of some sort. Well, practical optimism might be saying, okay, I know that my budget is this, or this is the size boat I feel comfortable maintaining, or this is the size boat I need to be able to cruise in comfort with my family. Whatever that compromise is for you, instead of lamenting what you can't have, it would be taking that and running with it. So for us, sure, a 28-foot boat is a little small. That means, though, by going on that boat, it means that we can go cruising much sooner and actually stay gone for as long as we want to, rather than buying a bigger boat that is more expensive. Our practical aspect says, that's the boat we're going on. The optimism is, we can't wait to get back out there. We're so excited about the places we can go and the things that we can do on that boat that we know and we love. For Carl and Pat, another example of this is one of the things that I love is they take advantage of these travel opportunities that they have. And they love to travel and always have and still are doing that even though they're not on the boat anymore. And so they've looked and they said, okay, we can be in Europe for a couple of months in the year. And rather than saying, oh my gosh, I don't have the budget to be able to go in first class, they look and they say, great, I can go to Europe for 2 or 3 months. Here's my budget. And let's find a cool Airbnb that's going to fit that budget. And I'm going to make the most out of whatever that particular Airbnb is. It's a great philosophy. It's an inspiring philosophy for us as we listen to them and talk to them about what their next life plans are. They made a very quick decision about a year ago, I think is what it was. The boat, Ishmael, had been down in Georgetown in one of the holes on a hurricane mooring. And they went down to see Ishmael, and they realized that was pretty much what they were going to do if they kept Ishmael, was they were going to fly down to Georgetown, hang out in Georgetown, which is a place that they love. They love it. They have incredibly fond memories of it. Their kids, when they come to visit with the grandkids now, can stay on the boat in a place that they love spending lots and lots of time. But they realized that they like to move a little bit more than that. And they also realized that the boat needs to move more than that. So rather than saying, oh my gosh, what do we do? How's that going to work? They decided they were going to put Ishmael up for sale and move on to something else in their life. And they did. No looking back, no regrets, no nothing. That's incredible. That's such a wonderful inspiration and way of looking at the world and cruising and life after cruising. It's a no regrets philosophy. It's a look at the good things that we've had. It's what are the possibilities that this opens up to us? One of the things that I love about spending time with Carl and Pat is that their practical optimism reminds us so much about what we love about this cruising lifestyle. It is about compromise. It is about no regrets. It is about moving forward and seeing the possibility and acting towards whatever that possibility is that it might be for you. I'm looking forward to sharing an anchorage with you with whatever practical optimism we can come up with, and you can too. Thanks so much for listening to today's episode of the Boat Galley Podcast. Have you subscribed? Have you left us a review? Have you written to us to let us know what you'd like us to cover? Because we love hearing from our listeners.